All right, hello, welcome. My name is Lisa Shea, and we are going to work on a medieval illustrated style letter X. X is great for all sorts of reasons. It's a wonderful Roman numeral. It's in all sorts of beautiful names. I love the letter X. So let's see, there's so many cool ways to do letter X. I've done letter X's with leaves, letter X's with pillars. So what am I in the mood for today? Well, let's do pillars with portholes. That'll be fun. So we do 2 crossed pillars. Alright. Alright, so we got the crossed pieces. This piece is sort of moving out a little, so let's just bring that in a little. Alright, I'm going to put the portholes up at center. Alright, then that one should probably move a little higher up. Alright, there we go. So we'll start one flower going like this. We'll start one going like this. Alright, give them all little leaves. Put a butterfly over here. think that's good. X marks the spot. Alright, so finish the pencil stage. Switch to a waterproof pen. Any waterproof pen is fine, as long as it is waterproof. So that way when you get to the stage of painting with watercolors on top of it, you do not smear the ink. X is such an intriguing letter. It is a classic part of so many treasure hunts. X marks the spot. X is the destination. And then X is also this powerful indicator of expressing your opinion. Put a big X on something if you don't want to do it. So out of all the letters, it's one of the most powerful and meaningful letters, which is pretty cool. Let's do the butterfly while we're over here. And as always, you can put whatever symbols into your image make you happy. If you want to add beetles, you can add beetles. If you want to add spiders or snakes or whatever else makes you happy. Just add the things that bring you joy. The fun of art is that you create your own world. You fill it with things that intrigue you. And your vision is completely different from anyone else's vision. Oh, my cat is climbing up the back of my chair. Cat wants to know why they can't come sleep right on top of where I'm watercolor painting. Funny how the cat doesn't want to come sleep in here when I'm like off in the other room. Cat only wants to come sleep in here when I am in here working on painting a watercolor painting. That is in the cat's nature. Alright, so I'm not painting the flower heads on because I want to do those with individual petals rather than drawing them in pen and ink. But I think you get the gist of it there. That we've got the structure for the X. Alright, next comes the question of what color to do these in. I think I want to do them as wood. So I got a 4 brush, just so I can get these little details in here. And it's good to try painting from different angles and see which works better for your wrist. We all have wrists that work in different ways. We all have different kinds of aches and pains that cause us problems from different angles. So rotate your paper and brush around until you find the angle that is easiest for you to work with. Keep in mind that the color you paint will get lighter as it dries. So you might need to come back and do a second layer or a third layer to make it as dark or rich as you are imagining. And that is fine. That is the way watercolors work. Probably find over time that there are certain colors that you're just drawn to that you really like a lot. That is fine. Go with it. Because it could be that you really like certain colors for this year, and then next year you've moved on and you're working on a completely different set of colors. So just express what you're feeling at the moment. All right. Working on the second strut of the X. I think I want the second strut to be a little bit darker, so I'll go over it with a second layer after when this all dries. Give it a little more differentiation between these two different layers. All right. All right, so reasonably pleased with that top layer. Try to get another layer onto this bottom layer just to darken it up a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I am happy to answer questions, offer suggestions, whatever you would like. All right. All right, so got the brown layer done. We're gonna put in the leaves. We'll use this green. This is Marie's green light. I tend to get into habits where I use the same colors often. It's good to mix things up every once in a while. Get something which is a bit different. Alright, so I think that's all the leaves. I think I will go with rose as the colors for this one. So this right here is a rose for the flowers. When I do petals, I like to do separate petals and let them dry, and then edge petals and let them dry, and that way the petals stay reasonably differentiated from each other. Like this, a rose-colored butterfly. It's also good to make different sections slightly different in color from each other to give them that kind of natural variation that you would see in the wild. Alright, so that happens to be a Marie's rose. I also happen to have a Royal Langle rose, and even if it has the same name, if it comes from two different manufacturers, they tend to have their own versions of each color that is slightly different from each other. So just by switching to a different manufacturer, you're able to get a slightly different color, which can give it that sense of variation. And then I'll take that rose, mix it in, a little of this red that's here already. And again, that'll just change the color a tiny bit. Now if I add in just an extra little petal or two. Oops, I have to be careful. Just got my finger into the butterfly's wing. Luckily I did not smear it, but I could easily have done that. Alright, so I'm just adding a few extra petals in to make it mix up a little bit. Alright, and I want to add a little bit of highlighting to the X. I like to add little dots to things. I want it to be reasonably subtle, so I think what I'm going to do is do this gold, which will not show up very brightly against the brown of the X, but it should be enough to just give a little hint of sparkle. So I have a little bit of gold that I keep on the edge of the palette. Looks like I'm going to have to add some more shortly. Zuzu is back to add her commentary, just as long as she does not step in the wet watercolor paint. You're a very good Zuzu. You are such a good Zuzu. Yes, there you go. Just go curl up right over there. Good kitten. Good kitten. Right, so I'm going to put dots around the edge of the brown. And again, with them being gold against brown, they are not going to show up very bright, but it'll just be a subtle little set of detailing. And sometimes it's those little details that you barely see that add that interest to a picture. Alright, so I got one strut done. Alright. So again, it might be hard to see on the camera, but they are shimmery and there are gold dots around both ends, so it's not a really blatant addition, but when you tilt your head and look at it from different angles, you can see the different shimmers. So it's a kind of detail that adds some interest. So I think you can see it better when I move the paper around. So I add a gold dot or two to the butterfly wing. What color should I make the middle of the butterfly? Maybe a dark green. Staying with our green theme. Alrighty. Oh, I think that's a little too green. Let's add some gray in there. That's better. Don't want it to be quite that. Even that's still a little green. All right, hold on. All right, we'll fix this. All right. Oh, do we want to do the insides of the portholes? They're sort of interesting being able to see through, but no, I think I do want to do the insides of the portholes. All right, so we're going to do that the raw umber. Alright, maybe a little bit darker down at the bottom. Just try to pull out some of those bright highlights. There we go. It was sort of cool before with the white holes. But it is alright with the darker holes. And we'll sign it. Alright, so there we've got a letter X done in a medieval illustrated watercolor style. Let me know if you have any questions about the letter X or about any other letter. And I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.